Now let us now discuss about what are the diets that do help lipedema and what harms lipedema. What kind of diets harm lipedema? Because this is very important for the treatment of this particular condition. As we know, lipedema is also a kind of a fat, though it is an abnormal deposition of fat. It's an abnormal fat, but this is also fat. So now most of the diets which cause obesity or cause overweight can also affect lipedema. So generally a high carbohydrate, high sugar diet, coke and these kind of things, which items, the pastries, bakery items, these starchy foods, these are the ones which stimulate the overgrowth of fat. There is a hyperplasia and hypertrophy of the adipose tissue, and there is an increase in the fat. Now, if you look at all these fast foods, these are all responsible for being overweight, obesity, as well as development or progression of lipedema rather than development. What are the kind of foods you should have to be able to have some amount of control, exercise some amount of control on this lipedema, or stall lipedema, or reverse the progress of lipedema? What we need to understand is lipedema has got some protective features in terms with metabolic diseases like diabetes. As the disease progresses, the volume increases, and of course, and then when things go out of control, then the pancreas could get affected and diabetes can set in. But by and large, in the early stages of lipedema, women suffering from lipedema are having some kind of protection from diabetes. Anti-inflammatory diet is very important in trying to restrain and control lipedema to a great extent. So green leafy vegetables, fresh vegetables have to be taken in excess, carbohydrates to be limited to the minimum, and you can always consider a ketogenic diet, that is saturated fats to be increased in the diet, and also a good amount of proteins to be included in the diet. And need to take portions which limit to approximately around 1200 calories to 1500 calories per day, not more than that. So you can divide it into 2 or 3 portions, or preferably 2 portions, and limit it. Sugar to be avoided to the maximum, because that is found to be a very, very dangerous product which causes severe inflammation. Similarly, alcohol should be brought down to the minimum, and nicotine should to be also brought down to the minimum or avoided altogether. Plenty of fluids in the form of water, fresh water, is extremely good. Soda is not good, and you should try to avoid aerated drinks to quite a large extent. If you look for a meal plan for lipedema, then you should always try to look for an anti-inflammatory meal plan, and an anti-inflammatory meal plan should contain lots of green leafy vegetables. If you are a pure vegetarian, then there is a little bit of an issue, but you should think of taking plant-based proteins, or you can also look at these protein shakes to be included in the diet, so you get a reasonable amount of proteins. And then you should always, if you have eggs, if you have no objection to having eggs, then you should consider taking 1 to 3 eggs per day. If you are a non-vegetarian, then you can always consider either chicken or fish, which are a good source of protein. And for vegetarians, of course, we have chickpeas, peanuts, rajma, and other pulses that can be included. And if you're looking at some snack items and other things, then you can think of something like Brazil nuts, almonds. You can always consider a small fruit like a banana or a strawberry. So broccoli is another item which you could think of, and a little bit of brown rice in your diet or such other millets are also welcome. So this is how you should try to modify your diet and go as anti-inflammatory as you can. Sometimes you can think of a few supplements which could be helpful. Vitamin D3 is very useful, and you should always consider that. And another mineral which is very useful for patients suffering from lipedema, an anti-inflammatory thing, that is selenium. And third particular bioflavonoid is diosmin, that is seen in oranges and orange peel especially. So these are things that you should consider to take to have an anti-inflammatory effect and derive the maximum benefit in your diet.